For over a decade now, Sony has worked with developers to make a portfolio of compelling single-player games exclusive to their console to entice players into buying their consoles. In recent years, a few of these exclusives have found their way onto the PC, a trend that I and many in the PC community want to encourage, though not necessarily in a manner set by the subject of this video. Quantic Dream has not brought their games to PC so much as they have brought them to the Epic Store. I didn't bring that up just to jump on the Epic hate bandwagon. Just activating Beyond Two Souls on the Epic launcher was a real pain in the ass, presenting problems I never had to deal with before, which makes me recommend avoiding this game. Is it fun to play though? No. Beyond Two Souls is one of the most frustrating experiences I've sat through, and I think much of this can be attributed to the fact that it feels like this game doesn't want to be a game. The most immediately striking sign of this is the terrible letterboxing that plagues the game for the entirety of its run. If you don't know what letterboxing is, it's the black bars near the top and bottom of the screen. There's no option to turn this off in the settings menu. I had to download a third-party mod from PC Gaming Wiki to force the game to use all the real estate my monitor has to offer. Worse yet, the file was flagged as malware by multiple security suites on VirusTotal. Why did I need to download a sketchy file off a third-party website? Why did the developers deliberately hamper their product with a flaw? What benefit do the black bars bring to this game? None that I can think of. This isn't cool. This isn't cinematic, it's just stupid. The only impact letterboxing has on the game is to waste a third of the screen space and in the process obscure objects that the game requires you to interact with, forcing you to grapple with the camera to bring them into view. I do mean grapple, because the game seldom gives you control over your camera. Instead, your perspective is determined by your position in your environment. Most of the time, your view cycles between a series of fixed cameras and the game chooses the active camera based on your location. This is terrible for gameplay because approaching the objective often triggers the game to change your perspective to a camera that is pointing away from your destination. Black bars, fixed cameras. It feels like the developers wanted to make a movie, but that isn't the business they're in, and so they were stuck making a game. Either way, Beyond Two Souls is a disaster. The gameplay is the worst I've seen in this medium. Even if Beyond Two Souls was a film, it would be a failure because the writing just isn't good enough for the most part. The plot only comes together at the very end and isn't worth sitting through the hours of stupidity and tedium that precede it. The training montage is perhaps the most boring sequence I've ever sat through. The little character development that this game has is beyond bizarre. For instance, the game will put you at odds with a character who is a complete jerk to you and basically enslaves you only to then suddenly force that character as a love interest even though he has so far done nothing to redeem himself. The game is like, women, eh? It's clear the actors tried their best with the awful script they were given.
You know what? He's charming, he's intelligent, he's funny, and I think I'm falling for him.
But even the most passionate performance can't make this writing sound meaningful. Even when the writing isn't nonsensical, it often gets too cheesy to take seriously. The closing monologue of a minor villain is so cartoonish it's laughable. I can count on one hand the number of times I thought the game wasn't terribly written. One of them being, are you sure you want to quit to desktop? There are a couple of instances where the audio and visual presentation make for a creepy scene, but those moments of emotional intensity are few and far between, and only offer a glimpse of what could have been a better game. This might sound harsh if you have yet to play Beyond Two Souls, and I use the word play loosely, as it takes forever before you get to play the game. You'll be forced to sit through cutscene after cutscene before the game finally relents and gives you a very, very limited degree of control. The defining feature that distinguishes games from movies is interactivity, and Beyond Two Souls fails miserably in this department. The controls are straight up broken. Your character will move right if you press left, go back if you press forward. The game is like, women, eh? In the rare occasion she actually goes where you tell her to, you'll often run right into an invisible wall. They're everywhere. How can a game that is this tightly choreographed still run into these glitches? If the developers didn't want players to use a certain path, they should have placed a visible barrier there. This is level design 101. Instead, the camera often draws your attention to an opening that somehow stops your character for several seconds or even minutes before you give up. Unfortunately, it is the one path the game intends for you to proceed through, so the invisible wall is a glitch you'll have to get past somehow. Most of the time, you'll need to approach the door from a specific angle for the game to let you through. If you thought navigation was bad, interacting is even worse. Beyond Two Souls relies heavily on QuickTime events. If you don't know what that is, I envy you. QuickTime events are a mechanic that discards normal key binding in favour of anything from forcing you to press or hold a series of random keys, often within a limited window of time, to progress through interactive sequences of disparate types, to straight up button mashing as fast as you can. This mechanic is present to some degree in most games. It's only when developers force it on players as a primary method of interaction that it becomes a problem. And it's a huge problem in Beyond Two Souls. QuickTime events were hated in the early 2010s, and for good reason. This game is a good reminder of why. For one, QuickTime events are used in a lot of contexts that would be better suited to traditional control schemes, and the game is worse off for it. Let's use shooting as an example. Most games have you press or hold the right mouse button to aim and click the left mouse button to fire. Not Beyond Two Souls, though. You have to click and hold the left mouse button to activate the game's aimbot, and then press the left shift key to shoot. No matter what you're looking at, you'll hit your target, even if it's off the screen. How on earth is this better than aiming with the right mouse button and shooting with the left? Jumping is just as bad. In most games, jumping is bound to the space key. It works fine. We've all become used to it, and there was no need to change it, unless you're one of those old-school Quakers that use a right mouse button. But no, Beyond Two Souls wants to be different. You have to click the left mouse button and drag your mouse up. And vaulting requires a different input. You'll have to click and hold the left mouse button, then press and hold the left shift key. Why? How is this better than pressing the spacebar? And jumping down is even worse. You must click the left mouse button and right mouse button and hold them while dragging your mouse down. Again, why? This doesn't feel any better than pressing space or C or control like in most normal games. Requiring more input from the player to accomplish the same simple task isn't more immersive. It's just tiresome. I often found myself screaming internally, "Why can't you be normal?" For reasons I do not understand. This game has a passionate following, and these fans do not take criticism well. Let me preempt the politest rebuttal they might present. This isn't a first-person shooter or a third-person RPG. You can't expect normal controls or camera. What about QWOP? Everybody loves QWOP, and that's got stupid controls. Does this game benefit from its current control scheme, though? No. All it does is make an already middling experience all the more frustrating. I'm not even holding this game to first-person shooter standards. Beyond Two Souls falls short, even if you compare it to games in its genre. This is by far the most frustrating game of its kind. I've played Telltale's Game of Thrones and Life is Strange. While I wasn't a fan of the gameplay, it wasn't bad enough to ruin the narrative. Beyond Two Souls is. Even at its most conventional, Beyond Two Souls manages to be an exasperating experience. For instance, you need to click the left mouse button to interact with anything. You might find this analogous to pressing E or F in most normal games. However, merely clicking the left mouse button isn't enough for Beyond Two Souls. If you let go of the left mouse button too quickly, your character will drop whatever she's holding and stand like an idiot. Women, hey? The game requires you to click and hold the left mouse button until she's done with whatever she's doing. Women, eh? In certain instances, the game requires you to drag the mouse while holding the left mouse button, though half the time the game will not tell you in what direction the game wants you to tug the mouse, leading you to drag the mouse all over the place while holding down the left mouse button. I fear playing Beyond Two Souls has significantly shortened my lifespan of my mouse. The narrative is subpar, the writing is ridiculous, and the gameplay is terrible. Does the game fare any better from a visual standpoint? Yes and no. Beyond Two Souls looks incredible for a game originally released for the PS3 in 2013. The main characters have the best facial textures I've seen in any video game. The pores and freckles make the skin look remarkably realistic. The lighting isn't too bad either, though the SMAA fails to eliminate aliasing. The game also tends to overuse particle effects anytime you use your ghost powers. Use your psychokinesis to strangle an enemy? Your screen will be awash in a stream of red sparks that makes it impossible to observe whatever you're doing to your target. If you choose to possess your target, the game will shower you in golden sparks instead. Well, when I said choose, I lied. The game offers you no choice in what you do to your enemies. You can only kill an enemy that the game has set aside to be killable. You can only possess an enemy that the game curses with a yellow halo. Enemies that glow blue cannot be tinkered with in any way. Why not? These are not major characters that have any impact on the story. These are grunts that serve no purpose besides cannon fodder, and yet you can't do anything with them. I often found myself thinking, why can't I kill that guy if I can kill this guy? Why can't I possess that guy if I can possess his friend who's standing right next to him? The game does not explain what makes the enemies in blue immune to your powers, or why the enemies in yellow can be controlled, or why the enemies in red can be killed. It's a shame Beyond Two Souls squanders the only thing it has going for it. It's an interesting premise of a connection to your invisible friend that can control objects and minds alike. But you only get to control what the game allows you to control, and you get to control very little. You get no freedom to experiment with your supernatural powers, which kind of defeats the whole purpose, don't you think? It's ironic that the game stifles freedom and creativity to force players down an extremely narrow path, when that path is riddled with game-breaking glitches. Some may argue the game isn't as linear as I'm making it sound, since Beyond Two Souls' ending changes depending on your choices you've made in your playthrough. The multiple endings lend the game some replayability, though the journey to get there is a tedious and frustrating chore. With that said, Beyond Two Souls' ending was one of the most shocking sequences I've sat through in a while, though the tension was quickly destroyed when I ran into an invisible wall.
We gotta get out! Now!
We need to get out of here now! Oops, can't get through the invisible force field on the door. Guess I'll die then. Whoops, nope, I can't die. The developers didn't script that in. So what's the consequence if I just stay here? Nothing. Okay then. It's such a shame. Just when I thought the game might finally redeem itself in its final hour, Beyond Two Souls found a way to ruin it for me. It hurts to say this, but it has to be said. Beyond Two Souls is not a game I'd recommend to anybody. The game is a failure from a gameplay, narrative, and technical standpoint. Sure, it looks really good for its age, but visuals go hand in hand with performance, which is a mixed bag. For the first few hours, frame rate stayed well above 100 frames at all times, until I ventured into the graphics menu to inspect the settings, which inevitably capped my frame rate to 60. The game offers no option to uncap or disable the setting, which forced me to download another third-party fix from the PC Gaming Wiki. I shouldn't have to do this. Why does the game insist on changing things that work fine when there are plenty of issues that desperately need fixing? This is just one of the many reasons I recommend avoiding Beyond Two Souls. The implementation of De Novo is another, though perhaps my biggest gripe is with its exclusivity to the Epic launcher, which literally refused to activate the game not once, but twice. Perhaps I should have taken the hint. This game is not worth your time, let alone your money. I take no joy in saying this. I desperately wanted to like this game because this is a trend I want to encourage. PS4 exclusives coming to PC, shedding the trappings of 30 frames a second and embracing the beauty of higher resolutions and smoother frame rates. And goddamn finally getting to play those PlayStation exclusives. But I've learned a valuable lesson. PS4 exclusivity is not an indicator of quality. Just because it's a PS4 exclusive doesn't mean it's a good game. I guess I fell for the PS4 single-player exclusive meme. God of War and Horizon Zero Dawn lived up to it. Beyond Two Souls didn't. Don't waste your money on it. Heck, don't waste your time on it, even if it's cracked at some point. Heck, don't even worry about cracking it. This game does nothing to offset its flaws and even at its best, excels at nothing that isn't done better by other games across all genres. Even if you like Beyond Two Souls' story, there are plenty of games with good narratives and gameplay that isn't terrible. Want an ending that will shock you? Play Bioshock Infinite or Spec Ops: The Line. Want a game with a good ending and interesting gameplay? Play Portal 2. Do you only care about visuals? Play Battlefield 5. Want good graphics and a good story? Play Witcher 3 or Red Dead Redemption 2. Do you just want to enjoy turning enemies against each other? Play Watch Dogs 2 or Assassin's Creed 4. They do everything this game does and more, but better. Whilst I'm glad PS4 exclusives are coming to PC, I just wish it was Horizon Zero Dawn or The Last of Us. The catalyst of Quantic Dream's arrival on PC was an investment from Chinese internet giant NetEase. We hope investors can help bring titles like God of War to PC, especially since its director has expressed interest in developing a PC port. And by that we mean the newer God of War, not the first God of War. Although that's alright too, you bring that one across if you want, but the new one, the one with the kid. If you like this video, please press the like button and share it too, because YouTube won't. If you want us to review more PS4 exclusives when they launch on the PC, please subscribe, press the bell and select all. YouTube won't notify you of new uploads unless you select all. And even then, it's still a bit sketchy. Several subscribers have reported that YouTube are screwing with their notifications, even when the bell button is enabled. So if that's true, just keep an eye out for our thumbnails. Help us, channel subscribers. You're our only hope.